So, turns out the middle path of the new Desperado tower can be very useful for farming. Like, insanely useful. Other than marking targets for extra income, which we'll talk more about in a moment, his ability that gives extra range, among other things, allows you to create an opolis as large as you want. You are no longer limited by range whatsoever. For this tower, you first gain the ability on tier 3, which is unusual because normally it's always on tier 4, which means that it's also very cheap. The total cost of getting the tower and all 3 upgrades is only $3,950 on medium mode. This tier 3 ability increases the range of the target tower significantly. If targeting a village, it increases the range by the same amount as an overclock would. If you upgrade Desperado to tier 4 for another 8k, now totaling just $11,950, you get even more range. This can be combined with an ultra boost, TSG, village, and a hero like Etienne or Sealy to make the total range enormous. But the amazing thing is that you don't even need all of this. Just a temple, ultra boost, and a village buff together with the tier 4 ability gets you all the range you need to create a full map opolis. This means that this is not just a fun trick that you can do on bloons, it's actually something that will be useful in boss runs. The opolis that the Shattered Fortress made in his video made $22,392 per crate with a tier 4 village next to it. Not 22k per round, 22k per crate. An opolis produces 10 crates per round, so that's $223,920 per round. Now, that's a perfect opolis on the map bloons, so on any real map it's gonna be a bit less, but not by much. There's actually quite a few maps like Cornfield, End of the Road, Winter Park, just to name a few, where you can fit almost as many. And this is gonna be super useful on maps with less space too, and arguably even more so. If you're on a map where you can't fit that many farms, this trick will now allow you to have a really good income despite that. It's also going to be useful in some limited space challenges that I do. Sometimes the allowed areas are spaced apart, and now you can create an opolis despite that. Other than creating an opolis, it's also useful for other things too. Take for example, once you've finished tier 1, you've got a mini-opolis and a few farms around it, and there's no more space to put farms inside of its range. How about getting a cheap tier 3 to buff the range of your mini-opolis? That way you can place the farms while the bonus range is active and get the discount on a few more farms, and if you keep applying the ability all the time, those farms will also get the extra income buff from the village. Now, just one tier 3 is not enough for full uptime. For that you need 2 of them. But still, the tier 3 is so cheap that it might actually be worth it to get at least one of them for this purpose. Give it some time and I'm sure the boss pros will figure out if it's worth it or not. In fact, I'm sure that's what they're busy doing right now in preparation for the community boss tournament. Furthermore, you can also use this cheap range buff on your temple to get even more space to place your farms in its range and save a lot of extra cash when filling the map with BRFs. This will make the snowballing happen a lot faster and get you to maxed out farming sooner. It's also worth noting that the tier 3 and the tier 4 abilities cannot stack their range. Both ability icons do appear, but you only get the effect of the tier 4. Now to the more straightforward way to make cash with Desperado. The tier 4 middle path gains a second ability that marks targets, which then gives you double income for popping those targets. That didn't seem too attractive at first, until people realized that it's not a 2x additive buff, it's a 2x multiplicative buff, which means it stacks with other income buffs. So if you get something like an XL trap with a monkey city and a rubber to gold, and then put a bounty hunter ability on top of that, it multiplies all of it by 2x. So the income you get from those bloons will be crazy. And the ability does in fact work on Moab class bloons. I can't see any marker like I do on regular bloons, but a simple test shows that the income does in fact double when using the ability. The rubber to gold was nerfed in this update to give 2 times the income instead of 3 times the income from golden balloons. But when using this new ability, it more than makes up for the nerf, at least in testing. In reality, this nerf to the alch will affect you a lot more in the early game and so on, so overall it might not be a good trade, but nevertheless this can be made very useful. Question is, how many tier 4s do you need? Will they mark enough targets? Will they steal the pops? Because they do have infinite range at the end of the marking period when they start attacking the targets. Now here is the potential bummer in all of this. Will this be here to stay? Like, first of all, is this even intended to work on the village? Remember when we used to use Geraldo's upgraded camo pods to increase the range of the village, and then NK swooped in and said we're all getting reported to the police and going to jail for the rest of our lives? They removed the ability for us to use the camo pot on the village completely, which I can't really remember why they did, because I thought it was pretty cool, and it certainly wasn't that overpowered. This, on the other hand, is super powerful and will generate tons of extra income. What's to say that NK won't come in again and say, whoopsie, we didn't mean for it to work that way, bug fix incoming? Honestly, I do consider that to be a possibility because this might be too strong. I can't say too much about how powerful it is yet because I've yet to see a full run using all of these new tricks since the tower literally just came out. But I hope that NK will at least wait a bit before they decide to remove/nerf it. I hope that we can get to finish playing update 49, and if they are planning to do something about it, wait until update 50 and don't do it in a minor update like 49.1. Because I don't know about you, but I really want to see what's possible with this. I want to see if the tier 3 ability really is useful for the early game farming. I want to see what insane amounts of cash can be obtained by tier 5. And if it ends up being way too powerful for farming, then fine. I guess it has to be removed or nerfed because we already have enough power creep as it is. But no matter what you think about these new features, I think it's gonna be very fun to try out some new farming strats for a while. Things going back and forth, metas coming and going, that's kind of part of what Bloons is and keeps things fun and interesting. But what do you guys think? How powerful is this gonna be on a scale from 1 to we're all going to jail again? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.